Valentine's Day has its origins in ancient Rome, where a festival called Lupercalia was held in mid-February to celebrate fertility and the coming of spring. During the festival, men would draw the names of women from a box and pair off for the rest of the festival, sometimes even resulting in marriages. In the early Christian era, Emperor Claudius II executed two men named Valentine on 14th February for their belief and practices, both of which were later venerated as saints. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the holiday began to take on its romantic associations, with courtly love and poems dedicated to one's love. Today, Valentine's Day is celebrated in many countries as a day of love, with people exchanging cards, chocolates, and gifts with their significant others. February 14th is associated with various martyrdom stories of different Valentines. One such story is of Saint Valentine of Rome, who was imprisoned for aiding Christians persecuted under the Roman Empire in the 3rd century. Legend has it that he healed the blind daughter of his jailer. Over time, the story has been modified to include the theme of love. One 18th century version claims he wrote a letter signed, "Your Valentine," to the jailer's daughter before his execution. Another tradition states he performed marriages for Christian soldiers who were banned from wedding ceremonies. Valentine's Day has spiritual connotations due to its association with Saint Valentine, a Christian martyr who lived in the 3rd century. Saint Valentine was known for his acts of love and kindness, particularly towards those who were persecuted for their faith, and he became a symbol of romantic love in the Middle Ages. In the Catholic Church, Saint Valentine is recognized as the patron saint of love and affection, as well as of happy marriages. Many churches hold special services and events to commemorate Saint Valentine's life and legacy, and to encourage people to reflect on the importance of love, compassion, and kindness in their own lives. In this sense, Valentine's Day can be seen as having spiritual connotations. It provides an opportunity for people to express their love and appreciation for one another, and to reflect on the transformative power of love in the world. But what is so special about February 14th? Why not June 11 or September 23rd? Many ancient philosophies recognize the solar revolutions and its significance to life on this planet. And, unlike the Gregorian calendar, the beginning of each solar cycle commences in March every year. Every year, as the sun enters the constellation of Aries, a new year is born, the emergence of spring. The esoteric significance of spring and love can vary depending on the cultural and spiritual context, but in many traditions, spring is seen as a time of renewal, growth, and new beginnings. This is often associated with the idea of love and fertility, as the arrival of spring brings new life to the world after the barrenness of winter. In esoteric traditions, love is often seen as a powerful force that has the ability to transform and heal, connecting people with each other and with the divine. Love is often considered a higher form of consciousness, a way of transcending the ego and experiencing a deeper sense of unity and interconnectedness. Valentine's Day is celebrated in the dead of winter, where the sun is stabilized in the constellation of Aquarius. Esoterically, this zodiac sign represents the death of the ego.
The question was asked, what is ego, and is it a good or bad thing to have an ego? The ego is actually our self-image. It is not our true self, but the true self that camouflages itself by labels, definitions, evaluations, analysis, and judgments. So when we create an identity based on an image, which usually represents the good and bad opinions of the world, then the sum total of that identity is referred to as the ego. The true self, of course, is the field of possibilities, this field of creativity, the field of intentionality, the field of power. Field, I say, because it's non-local. And the ego identity is local, and the physical body is supposed to be the projection of the subtle body, which is the ego, intellect, and mind.
The death of self means the rise of the other. February 14th occurs in the season of Aquarius, the water bearer.
Now we're in the month of Aquarius. In the Hebrew, it's called Dali, the month of Dali, which literally means bucket, water bucket. Aquarius is water carrier. So what is the energy of this month? What does it symbolize, and what does it tell us about someone who's born at this time? And for that matter, even those of us not born in this time of the year, it's still a time of the year that we have opportunities. What's the opportunity of this month? So what is water carrier? What is a water carrier? Sometimes people see that as almost a menial and dismissive type of position. Water carriers, wood choppers are often at the bottom of the rung. Today we may not have those vocations, if you wish, but in the times when it was not necessarily the highest level of work. And yet, the water carrier plays a role. That's a tremendously important role. And when you think about it, it is part of our own soul's makeup that teaches us a very valuable lesson or lessons. So on a very basic level, someone that delivers water, water we know is the essence of life. Our sustenance is dependent on it. Our bodies are made up mostly of water, 75%, whatever the number is. The earth is covered by 2/3 of the earth is water. Without water, we couldn't exist. So it really is the nourishment and the nurturing of everything that grows, including life, ourselves. That's why when they look for water elsewhere in other planets, water is always the first indicator, because without water, there won't be life, at least as we know it. But what's a water carrier? Water carrier is someone that brings you water, that delivers it to you. So one of the ways to understand it is this. In life, you have two choices. You're either a giver or a taker. I mean, obviously, you can mix the two and be sometimes like this, sometimes like that, but it's two different approaches to life. When you're a bearer of light, an ambassador that serves by bringing your unique skills, your unique wisdom, experience to others, you're giving. When you're feeding off someone else, you're taking. Moses, the great Moses, why was he called Moses or Moshe in the Bible? Interestingly, it's not the name his parents gave him. It's the name that Pharaoh's daughter gave him because she found him in a basket in the water in the river Nile, and she drew him out of water. She called him, in Min Hamayim Mishisiu is the verse in the Bible. Somewhat of an ancient Egyptian to draw out water from water. Why would you give him a name like that? And that become the name, that the only name we know. Even though we know the names his parents gave him, but that's the name that he's known as. Explain the Kabbalah, it's a beautiful concept. Because Moses was a man of water. That there are two types of souls. There are water souls and land souls. Water souls come from a deeper, hidden place. Water is called the concealed worlds. We call it the superconscious. I like the word super, not unconscious or sub, which sounds like subterranean. The superconscious, beyond conscious experience. Moses was a soul from that reality. There are souls that are land souls. They come from the revealed spiritual worlds. The difference would be the difference between thought and speech. When you speak, you're revealing your feelings, your ideas. When you think, only you know what they're like. Like water. Things that are submerged in water, concealed in the water. Moses came from that world of thought. But his mission was to be a carrier, an interface, a channel between the superconscious and the conscious. And that's why that was the name that she gave him, whether she knew it or not, consciously or not. But that was the name, because that was his role. That's why the Bible tells us that Moses was a man of no words. That's why when God said to him, "You be my messengers, speak to Pharaoh," he says, "I cannot speak. I'm a man of no words." He uses different expressions. My lips are sealed, or difficult for me to speak. And God says, who gives man a mouth to speak? It is I. I want you to say my words. I'm not looking for an orator, someone that has a perfectly honed voice. Because I want you to express ideas that are beyond regular words. And here's the man of no words that left us words that are the best-selling book in all of history. His words have been repeated and continue to be repeated and studied and pored over and analyzed more than anyone else's words. Because they weren't just words. They were carrying the secrets of the hidden world of water. So he was a water carrier. And that's why you find expressions of water always identify with knowledge. In the book of Isaiah, a beautiful verse about messianic times, there will be no longer evil or destruction in this world. Why? Because the world will be filled with divine knowledge as the waters cover the sea. We're told that when the world was created, it was all covered in water. Even according to science, many theories believe that. And then land emerged. For 9 months, were completely submerged in the embryonic fluids in our mother's womb. And that's why water is such a critical component in our lives. Not just drinking water to nourish us, but we go into water, you feel nurtured, you feel surrounded, you feel submerged, like in a womb. It's calming. Beachfront property. Yes, it's beautiful sights, but there's something about water that draws us. Because we naturally come from a deeper world that we're not able to articulate. A man like Moses was that water carrier. So each of us has the Moses within us. We all have that ability and responsibility to be water carriers, especially those that are born in this period of time. What does that mean? It means to bring a message to others. A watery message. And water, as we know, is a cleanser. It's associated with things being submerged in water. It represents what in the Hasidic terminology and mystical terminology is called bittul. It's fluid, not solid, but not quite invisible. It has that, the solidity, solidness, and solid things, concrete, are inflexible. Water is continuously fluid, continuously mobile. Whatever you put in water is submerged within it. That's what true humility, modesty, suspending yourself in the face of something greater. That's what it means to enter into water. So we're carrying message of truth, carrying message of healthy knowledge, not information. We're talking about intimate knowledge, the knowledge of life, the secrets of life. That's what we have to be, water carriers. Aquarius. And that's the energy of this month. Every month has its own energy. That's the energy of this month. So think about it. Next time you meet someone, are you delivering to them a message from a deeper place? A message of inspiration, of warmth, of nurturing. A message that submerges them into something deeper, something greater. That when you're covered in the water, you feel that you're part of something beyond you. Exactly that sensation.
In essence, while the sun is in the constellation of Aquarius, there is a natural urge to kill the self in order to pour love and nurture into humanity. The death of the ego leads to an emergence of a higher calling to fulfill the expansion of humankind. Therefore, the collective is nurtured, as symbolized by the water bearer. Then, there is the new beginning, called spring. In this sense, spring and love are often seen as complementary forces, each representing a different aspect of the same spiritual truth. Spring symbolizes the renewal of life and the return of the sun, while love symbolizes the connection and unity between all beings. Together, they represent the idea that through love and connection, we can experience a deeper sense of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment in life.